Cain was cursed to be a wanderer and a vagabond throughout the earth, according to the Bible, right? I'm not saying nothing you
Right,
never heard,
right.
right? All right. The word for wanderer in Hebrew is nod.
Wow. Okay.
How in the hell could the place that he's going to
That's deep,
have that name before he was given that curse? The place gets its name from him.
If the sun was 93 million miles away, we should very rarely experience temperature differences, better yet, not 4 distinct seasons.
When we look at the Tule and the Reed Boat, you understand that the Red Sea and the Yami, the Great Sea, the South Sea, we understand this location of Tule and the Reed Sea in California, in the California. Gaspar Yanga and others rebelling in 1570 AD to form their civilizations to get recognized in 1610, 1611 by the Spanish government to have a black maroon civilization, independent civilization here, California, Mexico connection. So you got to understand the time frame from 10,000 BC down the chronological time frame. Looking here at the boats here, the missions and the mission periods, and why the Spanish came to this location in particular, to California in particular. Now, what's interesting is that in 1806, this measles epidemic, right now, there's a current measles being an epidemic here in California, and this population, understand how this affected a lot of the population's health and allowed for medical gentrification, meaning ethnic cleansing of certain bloodlines through the genetics. But when you look here at the same culture in the building, using the reed style, the Tule reeds, and the different coastal known cultures that have been here since 10,000 BC. These traditions have been here since 10,000 BC, even until the period when you have Vicente Guerrero, the black Mexican president, who after Gaspar Yanga gets independence from Spain and Mexico to have their individual lands, now you have a black president that comes up through this independence that is formed originally from Gaspar Yanga in 1570. He becomes president of Mexico, one of the first black presidents, and actually stops slavery for a while until the Mexican-American War from penetrating into Texas, into Arizona, into California during this independence from Spain. This is when the mission period ends, so you have to understand. Now, this is also a satire in connections with Cain and Abel, and as well as how these mythos were translated into understanding mathematics and the principles and the calculation of the calendars of the 13th month. When we look at the Ethiopian and the Gregorian calendars, which are manipulations of the Coptic and ancient calendars of these 13 months. And we understand this 13th month was primarily for the month of the sun. So these chroniclings and why the new year and this time of Lent, this renewal process where people try to prepare for the spring and around this time of Easter and changing, right? Being a different person. So we see these festivals. We understand Lent and the 40 days and the fort. This particular pre-spring is significant to the Indies. So when we look at the hidden land, this is the land protected from the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean here along this pole region as we see here, Amun with the two solstices showing this primordial mound location of America, Amun. So we understand the underworld, the covering of this land and this ancient capital of Nikim, the red mound, the primordial mound. So we understand the primordial mound, the red, Adam, Edom, and the Canaanites, and this significance. When we understand the Savior, in a sense, the Negus, and the Asiatic traveler, and the first one to form this first dynasty, when we look at Anu, or the crossing from the east, and all of the solar mythos around the three kings, which is called the three kings, which is really not numbered to be three kings, but because of this star system of Sirius and Orion's belt and these different stars of the winter of this particular time, these things are
Colorable color means something that pretends to be something that it's not. Colorable court, colorable.
Fucking with these bitches and it's dangerous. Sleeping with these strangers. Every night a different woman done the same shit.
If you're ever caught robbing a tomb in ancient Egypt, the penalty was death by impalement.
Anyone I know is fucked up. Different cities switching women from cups up. Getting fucked up. Yeah, we don't even talk anymore.
Whatever niggas, play chestnut checkers, you ain't 38 special, so you clever niggas. See, bro, you ain't living down by the street code. Been through all these motions up and down like a seesaw. I can never view you as my equal. Fuck, I wanna hear your CD folk. So holla at me, I got Cubans on the low. Through the Cancun, smoking Cubans on the boat. Dock that Tulum just to smoke. Look, listening to music at the Mayan ruins. True devotion on the bluest ocean. Cruising. My cultural influence, even revolution. I'm integrated vertically, y'all niggas blew it. They tell me hustle, dumb it down, you might confuse me.
Come on.
It's like that weirdo rap, you motherfucking Schuster.
my nigga, babe. Yeah. I just love a nigga.
I'm a urban legend.
Yeah, man. I feel great. Ain't nothing stopping. Shit, man, right here. Like without the boy. Yeah. Let's go. Come on. Hey, I got the banger on the outside. We can bang it out. I'm a gangster from the south side. All in your mouth. And if you think
The mound builder.
calling your house, bro. You can bet you call your house. In my never the south. Sitting this big body. You gon' feel like you fell on a couch. And I'm 20 years for ready to out. Sherwood Grain making love of her out. Get her up throughout the metro area. Wheezy baby, he's the greatest. Leave the ladies in such disbelief. But bitch, please believe me, I'm the boy, the need of the block. I'm running, I got the rock. I'm in need of a block. And I speed up my drop when the streets is burning. My heater burn you meters. Newspaper sheets is turning. There's your speech and sermon. Your pitching street. Next week,
Move.
you'll probably see a family
13th letter.
Managed to push the tennis on fans. So Fred top managed on there. Now yo man, I got y'all like the ball.
When we look at the Pacific Northwest in this period of the Scorpio, from 120 degrees west to 150 degrees west in this coastline, got the Souls crossing, the Day of the Dead, the Ursa Minor and Major, and the star constellations of California, the California Bear and the Salmon, and the death and burial and resurrection of these animals and their sacred meanings and teachings from these sacred fish that go from fresh water and come back in salt water, changing color, showing their change and resurrection. Northwest Coast tribes universally believe in the immortality of the salmon, of which they depended for their food. They believed the salmon were supernatural creatures that inhabited the great house beneath the sea. So you look at the belly of the beast, the great fish, Jonah, and the Pacific salmon, and how it rose out of each year to make their run upstream for the benefit of the aboriginals of the California coast. The Pacific salmon was the only fish that changed the color and appearance during this run upstream in fresh water. Then in the salt water of the Pacific, it appeared as the magical properties. So the aboriginals performed ceremonies in the renewal, which included rituals around the birth and the death of the salmon, as well as other seasonal crops representing the passing of the soul, the death and the passing of the soul, the Day of the Dead, and this transformation of resurrection from death.
The Fish Protection Act. The Ministry of Environment says this watershed is extremely important for many species of fish, including coho, chinook, chum, and pink salmon, as well as stressed populations of steelhead and cutthroat trout. French Creek Estuary is well known to beach fishers and is a very productive creek. I'm sure any development will impact that considerably.
The state of California paid $1.1 million in 1852 to militias to hunt down and kill Indians. And in 1857, the California legislature allocated another $410,000 to the same purpose.
Black group in the Americas, mostly along the West Coast, California, what is now Acapulco, of a black group of people who do not trace their ancestry to Africa.
California governor wrote, the Gold Rush, 49er, what's up Kaepernick? A war of extermination will continue to be waged between the two races until the Indian race becomes extinct. California Governor Peter H. Burnett. So when we look at Akal and the consuming of the fire, and the consuming Kaish, and the Kush, and this coast, and Shakamet, in the mouth of the Scorpio, and the Scorpio coast, and this consumption of the sun for the ending and the beginning of the day. When we look at the funerary possessions of the funerary boats of Caparan Capre, and we see how this solar mythos was developed, right, crossing this great basin of this consumption.